Hello and welcome to our presentation, Catholic School Outreach, Social Emotional Learning Using Micro-Credentialing. We'll start with introducing our team.
Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Molly Cinnamon. I'm the principal of Pope John the 23rd School in Evanston, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Kelly. I'm the principal of Infant Jesus of Prague School in Flossmoor.
And I'm Dr. Donna Keel. I am one of the project directors and I am faculty in the Educational Leadership Program at DePaul University.
Hi, I'm Melissa Ackerman, also at DePaul University and one of the co-directors of the CORE project.
Hi everybody, I'm Barbara Rickoff, a DePaul faculty member and a mentor in this project.
Hi everyone, my name is Ingrid and I am a teacher in San Matthias.
I am Jackie Sultan, the 5th grade teacher at Pope John the 23rd in Evanston.
We'd like to begin today by giving you an overview of our social emotional learning program that we created as a micro-credential. And what we want to express most importantly in this presentation is the link between our Catholic faith and social emotional learning. As we developed this program, which was in the form of a micro-credential for both faculty and leaders in Catholic schools, we knew that our Catholic faith and social emotional competencies are the same. We knew that faith could guide social emotional learning and that they were not only intrinsically united, but our faith is also a driver of us being able to achieve that emotional competency within that social emotional realm. We chose specifically at DePaul University to use micro-credentialing for many reasons. Key to those reasons are DePaul's commitment as the nation's largest Catholic university to supporting our K-12 Catholic schools. And micro-credentialing as a form of professional development, DePaul has been a leader in that field, and we felt micro-credentialing provided the very self-paced learner platform that was perfect for our teachers and leaders in our Catholic schools who are often have very full schedules.
Another key component of this project was the intentional design and collaboration of an interdisciplinary team. So when the counseling program heard about social emotional learning, our ears automatically perked up. We were so excited because we know that the non-cognitive skills and interpersonal skills are linked to success for later in life. And we were very excited about linking up with the Office of Innovative Professional Learning and our educational leadership team to create a very diverse team of professionals to work with diverse teams within our Catholic partnership schools.
So we'd like to give you a glance into the micro-credential itself. And so if you think about the micro-credential as one of the most powerful tools of professional development, it's specifically designed to be short, to be very focused, and to be both job embedded, so tools that you can use in your school right now, as well as tools you can use in your life right now. Learner paced, as I mentioned before, as well as competency driven. So it's not just a sit and get kind of professional learning, but really involves that kind of competency to show yourself that you've achieved the outcomes, especially aligned with social emotional learning. In the intentionality of the design, we took Catholic faith as the driver, and we took our faith and the Catholic social teachings and we aligned them with the Castle framework for social emotional learning. And so that alignment resulted in 6 modules, and the modules follow along with giving a foundation of Catholic social teachings first, and then pulling out the Castle framework of self-awareness, self-management, relationship, responsible decision-making, and social awareness. We integrated Catholic faith and those framework topics within each module and came up with broader context of categories of purpose, passion, perspective, presence, and practices. So that each module provides those tools that someone would need in a faith context to achieve that competency. Most important to our design also was that it be trauma-informed and equity-driven, as social justice and equity are cornerstones of our Catholic faith. We'd like to show you the actual way we presented the framework to our candidates who were in the program, and that was through our learning management system, D2L, at DePaul University. So a micro-credential typically is an online learning experience. For the program that we provided our Catholic schools, this was both online as well as had synchronous coaching sessions. And so what you see on your screen right now is the learning management system of D2L, where houses is our micro-credential. And this is our course landing page. Our candidates in the program would go to the content section. And if you notice on the left-hand side of the screen, are all of the table of contents with the modules listed for each candidate. So if we look at module 2, which is our module on purpose, you'll notice that part of that module is an awareness, an assessment of your own current adult SEL competencies. And here's an example of that assessment. That assessment helped our candidates to see where they are right now with their social emotional competency, so that then at the end of the 6 modules, they could again assess their own competencies and decide what growth had been achieved, what areas they still wanted to target. What was important for us in this micro-credential is that we were very cognizant of the need to provide our teachers and our leaders with all those tools and resources of faith and social emotional competency that they would need not only to get through the pandemic, but to be able to thrive and to share those tools with their students. And so now Barb is going to take us through the essential role of the mentor.
So every school was assigned a mentor, and that came from one of the DePaul faculty. So the mentor would meet with the school-based team following each of the 6 modules. And the meetings were about 1 hour in length, and they would review the module and the content of the module, and then facilitate discussion, reflection, using those materials that you just saw from our D2L course site. A lot of times the discussion went in additional directions. So the mentor would provide support, encouragement, and at times even point to additional resources. The mentors would meet once a month then and talk about their mentoring and coaching experiences with the school teams and talk about ways to improve the questions they were asking and to be better facilitators of those conversations. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Jackie, who's going to talk about this project from the teacher perspective.
Thank you. Hi. So first of all, being a student with the DePaul SEL Core program has been a meaningful and inspiring experience for me this year. It's been an intentional built-in time for me to be a learner and sit where my students would be and focus on SEL to become stronger in my teaching practice. Social emotional learning is something that's always been very important to me and important to how I reach my students. Being a student in this program, again, has reminded me of what they might be experiencing when I bring up questions about their lives and experiences at home, their moods and feelings. My mentor that I've worked with has asked me to draw on experiences with a variety of emotions. And this has given me many strategies that I can put in my own SEL toolbox when I'm teaching and leading. The program has allowed me to teach with an open heart. And because of that, I can open the hearts of my students. Ways I've used this in my classroom is, again, I've intentionally carved out time in our day and week for these practices. We use morning meetings, have daily check-ins, provide a lot of student choice, and have mini lessons on our school's Mindfulness Mondays, Wellness Wednesdays, and Faithfulness Fridays that they love and look forward to. In turn, using SEL at the forefront of my teaching has made it become more natural in whatever I'm doing, whether or not it's a specific SEL mini lesson or not. It's provided me with personal data points to draw on for each of my students, which can support their success inside of the classroom and prepare them later for life. I'm able to be more in tune with their interests, their lives, their needs for that day, what they're currently interested in, and just be able to relate to them. The benefits I've found are that my class participation has increased greatly. Whenever we discuss any SEL topics, it is 100% participation. All students are able to bring something to the table since we're drawing on our own experiences. So we have that level playing field when we're discussing social emotional needs. It's provided our class a common language to use when we communicate with each other, when we're examining and managing our emotions, and it can also bring these practices to their home lives. Since everyone therefore in the class feels safer, since we've acknowledged feelings that we might be experiencing, more learning can happen. We're open to making mistakes and growth, and we're more able to work together. So it's been a really great experience to have this focused time on social emotional learning. And now we'll hear from Ingrid.
Hello, everyone. The Catholic social educator micro-credential is giving me the opportunity to assess myself and evaluate my own social emotional skills that sometimes we as teachers and as adults, we forget that we need. And it also nurtures the knowledge and the competences needed to have healthy lives in and out the classrooms, but to also teach the students how to develop and grow in these areas. By working in the SIP modules, we have the opportunity to really deeply reflect in our personal and social, personal and professional lives, and how to self-grow as an educator, since that as a part of the community, as our role in our classrooms. The strategies that we use really impacted me in a personal level, and they helped me to actually relate with my students as well. Thank you, and I am going to pass it to Melissa.
Well, we are so inspired by the work of our partners, and we so value the connection between the Catholic University and our Catholic schools. And as counselors, we really wanted to ensure that we kept the focus on the mental health and well-being of not just the students in the schools, but the adults, because we know that the adults have to be healthy and well in order to be present for their students. And so we really were intentional about thinking about throughout our micro-credential, talking about subject matters like trauma-informed work, thinking about things like vicarious trauma and compassion fatigue and burnout, which are all very real. And we found, as they have already discussed, that time to come together, having a sense of belonging among school staff, to be connected in their faith and common values, particularly this year when everything felt really so isolating, was incredibly valuable. And when they were able to do this, for themselves, they were better able to do that for their students. And we really advocate for counselors to help with that, to be bridge builders in that, to work with their administrators, so that there can be an overwhelming sense of healing and restorative practice within the schools, building a shared community and equitable practices. It can really open up pathways to self-discovery and to growth. And so I would like to now hand it over to Dr. Molly Cinnamon, who's going to talk to you about the principal perspective.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Hi again. I loved this coaching component of this program, and I needed it, really needed it. And it was something that we as a team from our school looked forward to every time we met. It is always great to take advantage of a coaching and mentoring opportunity, but when you're a leader of a school, you're modeling constantly. And so I wanted to model for my staff that not only do I value this for the classroom, but I value it for us as the adults in the building. I'm a very strong proponent of social emotional learning. I always have been. And I come from a very long, history of public school education and leadership and teaching. And social emotional learning came into my life when I was a public school educator. And I immediately gravitated towards it. And what I used to feel was resistance from teachers just because there was really no good place in the day to put social emotional learning. It is very intentional. So where does it go? How do we schedule it? How do we carve out the time? And I remember talking to social workers on my staff too, they were so elated that their teachers were now partners in this social emotional work, but there was no time in the day. And then when I became a faith-based Catholic school educator and leader, it was an automatic, easy decision, not only to embrace SEL, but to put it not just in a part of the day, but it infuses everything we do. It's part of our fabric at school, and it can go anywhere and everywhere, and it should. We have been benefiting from the support of DePaul for a full year, and I am grateful for it every day. We are fortunate to be working with our coach, Dr. Donna Keel, not only on this micro-credential, but also in a lot of very deep and profound work professionally as a staff on social justice and equity in education and in the classroom. And so the partnership is already there, and it just continues to deepen and grow. And to have a university such as DePaul as a resource to us has been just absolutely tremendous. And I feel like it's laying the groundwork. I was saying to a colleague earlier today that as a teacher, the children are your classroom. And when you become a leader or a principal, the staff becomes your classroom in a way. And your job, your sole job, is to do everything you can to support your teachers so that they can take care of the children. And so social emotional learning is something that I can give my team that I know sustains not only them, but then they pass on to their children. And they're given that professional permission to embrace that and make that a priority in their classrooms. And it's not only an invitation, it's an expectation. And it's something that we do automatically now. And we're using it to kind of plant the seeds now as we deepen our work around equity and social justice. They go together. They are not isolated from one another. They are very much interwoven, and they're not a one and done. They are not a 1-year initiative or a 2-year initiative. It's an ongoing, constant revisit to the work and getting better and better at being more comfortable, being uncomfortable, more connected, and asking the questions and really digging in. And so we have been very grateful to be working with DePaul, and we hope to continue the relationship. And now I have the honor of passing it on to my friend and colleague, Charlotte.
Thank you, Molly. Molly and I are second-year principals together. I'm at Infant Jesus of Prague in Flossmoor, as I mentioned earlier. I started thinking about this and thought, well, last year, my first year, was a bit of chaos. You know, our interim principal and our principal before me had a little different way of leading our school. And so things seemed a little chaotic. And in talking to kids and having them in my office to talk about things that were going on, I realized that they're experiencing a lot of trauma and we were missing something in our school. So despite everybody telling me to say no to everything my first year, I said yes to the SEL pilot program coming out of the Archdiocese with Yesenia Maldonado. We adopted Caring Schools Classroom as our SEL curriculum to work to build relationships amongst students, but also students and staff, building trust amongst, all people involved, greeting students by name, having those morning meetings, that sort of thing. But then we realized probably in starting with SEL with the kids, we really needed to go back a step and really look at our own SEL. So we were fortunate enough to work with Donna and DePaul last year with a micro-credential and innovative teaching. So this seemed like a great matchup for us. We were fortunate enough to work with Sister Mary Paul, who happens to be an alum of IJP. So that was super fun. And my teachers have so many great things to say about working with her. She wanted our input. She felt like she understood us. She trusted us. We trusted her and each other. We engaged in deep conversation where we felt connected, particularly, by our faith. We didn't feel like we were judged, but we did feel like we were valued and that we moved forward as a staff. The teachers were able to work at their own pace through the SEL modules, but then we met as a group. And like Molly said, we never dreaded that. That was always a good thing to be able to come together and talk. There were little breakout sessions where we had intimate conversations. People became more vulnerable and really had some time to talk as small groups so that we could grow together. Out of this came our diversity committee, where we're looking a little bit closer at our identities, what brings us together, what makes us similar, what makes us different, looking at other people's perspectives with compassion, with empathy, and then really trying to figure out what that means for us, for our kids, and moving forward. So as usual, right, our journey doesn't end. We work through our SEL curriculum. Our work with DePaul will continue as we move forward with restorative practices for equity and building our relationships, not only with each other, but also with our students, so they have great educational experiences. Thank you. And I'm going to pass that on to Barb.
Thank you, Charlotte. So this project has really helped remind us as we prepare from the educational leadership lens, as we prepare Catholic school leaders, it's reminded us of the importance of worrying about faculty and staff, personal, professional health and well-being. And as principals and preparing principals, so often we want to jump right into focusing on students and what do the students need, getting the content for the students right. And this is almost has to come before that work. So reminding us of the importance of social emotional learning for teachers and for leaders, and giving them time and space to do this work and prioritizing it in your professional development. So finding the resources, finding the support, finding time. And one of our presenters said already, it's not a one and done. So making sure it's an ongoing conversation that can happen in your school in terms of thinking about how can we improve, how can we get to know each other and ourselves better and continue to support everybody's well-being and mental health. Finally, the last thing in terms of, we teach a model of shared leadership and distributed leadership to our leadership candidates. And so this work is really important to be shared. It's not something the principal has to put on her shoulders alone, but she can share it with others and figure out how to involve teachers, how to involve staff in your school in moving it forward. So in terms of next steps, those of you in the audience who are listening to our recording today, thinking about what would be next steps for you to try and figure out where can we get started with this. So we'd suggest starting with some potential partnerships. Are there university partners, as we've described our partnership today, or are there other agencies that might be interested in working with you in social emotional learning and some of the content involved? Where can this work start in your school? Every one of the Catholic schools listening today is doing great work and has started this somewhere. There's some kernels of it already in existence in your schools. So where can you start it? Where's a good starting place, whether it's with a certain grade level or a certain team of teachers? And then what's already in place? How can you build on that and just continue to grow? Can you maintain, sustain, or deepen the work that you've already started? It overlaps so much with your faith values. So how can the social emotional component become part of that? And then thinking about partnerships with other Catholic schools. One of the real benefits we've seen is in the schools working across and together with each other and getting to know each other in the larger network. So seeing how they have some of the same challenges and some of the same concerns as they grow and develop their social emotional skills. I'll turn it over to Donna.
And we just all want to thank you so much for spending your time with us during this recording on behalf of my colleagues at DePaul University and my colleagues at Pope John XXIII School in Evanston, at Infant Jesus of Prague School, and at St. Matthias. We thank you for your belief in social emotional learning within the context of Catholic schools. What you see on your screen is our contact information. As my colleague Dr. Rickoff said, if you're interested in more information about the micro-credentials at DePaul, feel free to reach out to any one of us. If you'd like to know more about the user experience of a faculty member or a principal, please reach out to my colleagues at our partner schools. And on behalf of DePaul, we thank you for all you do for Catholic education. And it's our vision and our hope that we inspire, ignite, and unite with you in any kind of way that we can. And thank you for coming.